Welcome to the Real Estate Debate, where we debate the hottest topics in San Diego real estate. Derek Evans here, your host. And JJ, do you know what you've signed up for today, man, judging the show?
I'm always glad to be here, but I'm not sure that it seems a little more exciting today.
Well, today we have a very interesting situation because it is kind of a tournament of champions. Everyone on the show today has won the show before multiple times. But we also have a specific tiebreaker that could be broken today between Brian DeVore and Elizabeth Story, who have both won 7 times on the Real Estate Debate. More smack talking has gone on for this particular show than I have ever seen, and we've seen a lot in the past. You're the one who has to carry the heavy burden of being judged today. How does that make you feel, sir?
I think it's an easy target on my back, and I'm thrilled to do it.
All right.
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it, and you stepped up at the last second, so I really appreciate that. Now, typically, we would discuss something in the mortgage business for the Mortgage Minute, but today a special Mortgage Minute for you, JJ, as you have an award right here, my friend. I don't know if you saw this yet or not, but you are actually a top 10 loan originator here in San Diego, and I think everyone who watches the show knows that you're top 1% in the nation, which means a lot of people have used Jonathan Giroux for their mortgage needs across the country, right? Here in San Diego specifically, you made the top 10. You're actually number 4 in the county on this is a referral base. So in other words, people referred you as the best lender to work with. So not only are you doing a lot of business, but you're doing great business. So congratulations, man.
Well, thank you very much.
On your trophy.
I appreciate that.
JJ,
Thank
a little
you.
round of applause.
That's awesome. I have a perfect spot in my office for that, and I definitely appreciate that. It's nice to be leaned on for people's financing.
Yes, and I've been telling – so don't just take my word for it. I've been telling you for years JJ's the best in the business. I still believe that to this day. If you have mortgage needs, he's a great guy to call. You ready to fire up the show, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Contestant 1. Elizabeth Story is here from StoryEstates.com, 7-time real estate debate champion, tied for most all time, as previously said. Elizabeth, how do you feel about your chances today?
Oh, I'm going to crush it.
She's never lacking confidence.
It's a privilege and an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here, but I'm going to crush it.
Okay. Well, like usual, she does well. She's got a great record. I think she's only lost once. Is that right?
Ever. Yeah.
Once ever. So very, very tough contestant. Good luck today, as I know these guys are gunning for you.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Thank you.
Rob Cunningham, Rob C. with RE/MAX. What's up, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, man. Great to have you here. Now, you don't feel like a sideshow today, do you?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right? You're right in the middle of this whole thing.
I'm in the middle. I think my style's a little different. I think these contestants like to blurt out a lot of fun facts. And I think that it will be fun to have somebody that's a little more concise and impactful in what they're saying.
Okay. All right. So he's bringing a specific strategy, and he let the cat out of the bag a little bit, Rob C. with RE/MAX. Great to have you here.
He's throwing down a little bit, too.
Yeah.
He's throwing down. This is getting serious, getting there quickly. Appreciate you coming, my friend, on this historic day in real estate debate history. Our third contestant, Brian DeVore, is here with Berkshire Hathaway and thedevores.com. Brian, 7-time champion. Elizabeth, your arch nemesis in this show here. Rob, obviously bringing game today.
That's right.
How do you feel, brother?
I feel pretty good. I'm, as always, grateful to be here. Now, Elizabeth has lost 1 time. You didn't mention the fact that it was to me that my first victory ever was over Elizabeth. But unfortunately, I'm 1-3 against Elizabeth. So she's kind of been my kryptonite. And as everyone who follows Superman knows, the one thing that kryptonite cannot get through is lead.
Lead.
So I brought myself some lead to protect myself against my kryptonite.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Interesting.
That's
All right.
fun. I like that.
Well, it's time to fire up the show. Let's see what happens. It's time for Rapid Fire.
Let's go around the table for rapid fire.
I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead.
Keep it short and keep it on point.
1, 2, 10.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
All right, Elizabeth Story, you are up first. Today's rapid fire topic is, quote, things a good real estate agent will never do.
Overinflate the value to get the listing or put commission over their own client's interests, like double ending a deal that actually nets the seller less so that they can get more commission.
Ooh, definitely. Rob Cunningham.
A good agent will never be a yes man or a yes person. Well, the customer is always right. Sometimes they want things that may not be the best for themselves. And so a good agent will tell you the truth, might not be what you want to hear, even in lieu of potentially alienating themselves from your business.
Okay, so being completely honest. Love it. Brian DeVore.
So I put this topic out on Facebook to find out what real people would actually say about this, what they don't want their agents to do. And one of the people who follows me said, never disparage another agent in order to win a client or make someone feel guilty for not choosing them.
Okay, definitely.
Good point.
Elizabeth Story, back to you.
You should never allow your pride, your emotions, or your own personal interest to get in the way of a transaction. Like, for example, there are actual salaried agents in the world, and I've had a salaried agent argue to the point of almost losing the property for their client over something that was irrelevant to the transaction anyway. So you never should put your own personal beliefs or pride above your client's interests.
Totally agree. Rob Cunningham.
A good agent will never take or give kickbacks in regards to the public or other vendors. You know, if the value you're bringing is you're giving somebody money for the referral, probably not the best person for the job. So they're not going to take or give money.
Okay, Brian DeVore.
I think that JJ will appreciate this. They'll never commit a lender to certain time frames in the purchase agreement without checking with that lender first to see if they can actually do that.
We would hope that's common sense, but I'm sure JJ can attest to the fact that it is not. Today's rapid fire topic is, quote, things a good real estate agent will never do. Elizabeth Story, back to you.
Discriminate against buyers because they're unsure how to make the deal work. For example, people who don't want to work with VA buyers because they don't understand VA loans. That's not only unkind, but it's unfair to people who have served your country. And you should not discriminate just because you lack the knowledge base to make the transaction go through.
Yeah, well said. Rob Cunningham.
In regards to listing and actually selling a property, I don't think a good agent would ever really just count on the NLS or other passive activities such as an open house to ensure that the home sells for top dollar. I think as a good listing agent, you're going to have to be out there looking directly with the public and other active agents in town to find the best buyer for the listing.
Okay, Brian DeVore.
Here's one that a lot of people don't think about. They'll never let their buyer close escrow on a tenant-occupied home before the tenant actually moves out, because then the tenant becomes their responsibility. And I've seen that happen before, thankfully not mine, and it became an ugly situation. So they're going to make sure they're looking out for their client's best interest by waiting to close until that tenant is out of the house.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Elizabeth Story, back to you.
Another mistake is to not work closely with the loan officer, not only to make sure that the client is well qualified, but that they're well motivated to turn in their paperwork, because nothing makes a deal lag longer than a client who's not motivated to turn in their paperwork when the loan officer needs it.
Totally agree. Rob Cunningham.
A good agent's not going to hold you in an agency agreement you don't want to be in, whether that's a buyer or a seller. A good agent knows that they'll be able to get out there and find some more business, and if it's not working out, they'll be happy to let you go out to somewhere you want to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great point there. I'm going to actually say bonus points on that one. That's huge. Brian DeVore.
They're never going to tell their client what they think or use the word should. They're going to be sure that they're specific, they know the information, and they're going to give out the information that's actually truthful and factual, and not say, well, we should be able to do this, and then it winds up backfiring.
We should be able to do this. I like that. All right, today's rapid fire topic is things a good real estate agent will never do. Last round, Elizabeth Story.
Disclose personal facts about their clients that either have no bearing on the transaction or could hurt what offers they get. For example, they're already in escrow none of the property, they're desperate, they're this, that, and the other thing. You don't need to say that if you're already negotiating an offer. It could actually hurt your client's chances.
Okay, yeah, agreed. Rob Cunningham.
I don't think a great agent's going to take personal credit for a home selling over list price. I think that's more so a function of the market. And when the market does correct, I bet we're not going to see these same agents taking credit for price reductions.
I love that. Great point, Rob. Brian, you're closing it out.
They're never going to assume that their client prefers texting over phone calls or emails. They're going to make sure they actually find out how the client prefers to communicate, and then they're going to over-communicate.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. JJ, so, wow. Rapid fire round. Great stuff. What a panel we have today. Amazing. Is there anything you would like to add to the topic today, JJ? As a seasoned lender, top 10 originator, top 5 in San Diego, top 1% of the nation, what in your mind is something that a good real estate agent would never do?
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things that is always a question is contingencies. And I think a good agent will never remove like an appraisal contingency or a loan contingency without consulting with the lender to make sure that things will go through.
Okay, yep. Removal of financing contingencies without contacting the lender is a huge mistake, and a great point by JJ. Stick around as we come back. We will be doing hot or not so hot. We'll check in with JJ, see what the scores are, make you smarter than everyone else is guaranteed. Be right back. All right, JJ, let's check in and see what the scores are for today's real estate debate. What you got?
Well, Mr. Rob Cunningham has taken the lead with 7 points. Elizabeth Story right behind at 6, and Brian DeVore with 5 points.
Okay, wow, 7-6-5. DeVore's got a little
close
ground to make up, and Rob Cunningham, the white horse today, he's got the lead. It's time for hot or not so hot.
Time now now for hot or not so hot.
So hot right now.
Let's find out if your neighborhood is heating up
It's hot.
or if your district is on the decline.
I am completely miserable, San Diego.
All right. In this segment, each contestant will tell us about a specific micro market in San Diego, which they believe is either hot or not so hot. We'll start with Rob Cunningham. Contestants, please be ready to explain with any data or real events you have to support your position. Rob, you got a hot or not so hot market today for us?
It depends on who you are. If you're a buyer, I think this may be a great place for you to get into. If you're a seller, I don't know how hot this market's going to seem to you. I chose attached housing in the Adams Avenue, Normal Heights area. And the reason I chose that is because it's not as impacted as an area. While it's an area that's on the come up, you'll see new restaurants, nice restaurants coming in. You'll notice that detached homes in that area have on average sold for 23% more this year than they did last year.
Wow.
While their counterparts, the attached condos in that same zip code, have only seen a 0.5% increase. There's 56 properties currently on the market in that area that are attached, and there's 56 currently pending. If you're looking for a great place to live, that's affordable housing, that's going to be coming up, that's where it is for me.
Adams Avenue, Normal Heights area?
Normal Heights area, Adams Avenue, attached housing.
Attached housing. Wow, that's a very specific micro market. I like that. And great stat to back up your idea. Fantastic from Rob Cunningham. Mr. DeVore, hot or not so hot?
So I actually have a hot and a less hot market.
Okay.
If that works. So the hot market I chose was a community called Shadow Ridge, which is in Vista. It's in South Vista. It's just north of Carlsbad. And about 7 or 8 years ago, they pushed through Melrose Drive. And so it sort of connected the community of Shadow Ridge to Carlsbad, which made it even more appealing. It's just north of Carlsbad, like I said. It's a bedroom community centered by the Shadow Ridge Country Club. It's got a nice golf course, great schools, great restaurants, a lot of mom and pop type restaurants, which is great. Lots of shopping, etc. And so let's talk about the real estate there. So right now, as of yesterday, actually, there were 22 active listings on the market in Shadow Ridge with an average sale price per square foot list price of about $289. You can get a 2-bedroom condo for $234,000 there. So you can affordably get into the market there. You can also get the more expensive home, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, remodeled home, remodeled kitchen, soaring ceilings, etc., with panoramic views for a range of $665 to $685. So it's a good spectrum of opportunities for people. There's only 22 pending sales right now. So it's a perfect ratio of 1-to-1, which means it's a balance. It's a strong market for sellers. And the average sales price or list price per square foot of those pending sales is $287. Over the last 6 months, there's been 123 sales in that community. There's only 1 month of inventory in Shadow Ridge. It's hot.
Wow.
And, for example, a 2-bedroom condo sold for $295. What's also interesting is the list price, the average list price for the pending sales is 6% higher than the average list sold price of the sold homes. So that's telling me that the future wave of homes that are closing are going to be 6% more on average. It's pretty strong.
Okay. So Shadow Ridge and Vista.
Yeah.
That's your hot market?
Mm-hmm. And then to give real quickly an idea of how micro market the real estate market really is, the less hot market is the rest of that zip code. If you look at the rest of the zip code outside of Shadow Ridge, the market's not nearly as hot. There's more inventory, more months of inventory, and prices are not increasing as much. So it really talks about how hyper-local real estate really is.
No question. So do you want the best house in a bad neighborhood or the worst house in a good neighborhood? How does that saying go?
I think you want, well, the saying really is you want the smallest, least affordable home in the best neighborhood.
Okay. Least expensive home in the best neighborhood
Exactly.
possible. So you want to buy the least expensive home in Shadow Ridge.
Right.
All right. Got it. Great stuff. Elizabeth Story, hot or not so hot?
So I have a little bit of both. So my not hot area is Rancho Santa Fe, specifically 92091. It's on the tip, and it's a lot of traffic to get in and out, and people anymore are kind of preferring convenience and central locations on top of having land and a big house. So their average sales are about 2 per month, and there are 37 listings, so there are 15 months months of inventory, which is a sharp increase when you compare it to anywhere else in the county. They also have really long market times. 21 out of 39 have more than 60 days, and 37 have more than 100 days. So it's really long market time there. They're kind of getting crushed. Now, going into my hot markets, I want to talk about not just a hot area, but also hot property types. So there are certain property types or amenities that you can find within certain parts of the county that are just extremely popular. For example, I just had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage condo in North Park, but it was in a garden setting. Extremely popular. I had offers within the first hours on the market. I got offers every single day.
What does it sell for?
And it's in escrow for $360,000, and it was listed at $339,000.
Wow, that sounds like a good deal.
And it's just a lovely little property. It's close to the park. So
In
that
North Park?
Yeah. But then on the flip side, there are less expensive properties that are just sitting. So if you find the property with the right amenities, the 2 parking spots, the garden setting in an urban area, those properties are really hot. I also have a really hot market in Carlsbad Village specifically. West of the 5 in downtown Carlsbad Village, and especially if it's a rehab. My most popular listing I ever had was a Carlsbad Village rehab. My phone would ring 15 times a day off of the sign alone.
What?
I'm not even kidding. It was one of the most popular listings I've ever had. So there's certain little, again, micro markets and then micro properties that
Okay.
are very, very hot.
Great stuff from Elizabeth's story. Very educational. You guys are crushing it. JJ, what did you like the most about what they had to offer in that segment?
What did I like the most?
Yeah. Which
Well-
market appeals to you the most?
Well, Shadow Ridge definitely seems like a place that, if you want quick appreciation, you potentially might get it there. But I really like the Rob's in Normal Heights. I mean, I
Stats.
think
Yeah.
it seems like if you're after an attached home and the future, what might come of that from an appreciation standpoint,
Right.
that might be the place to buy right now.
And to play off what Elizabeth said with her congratulations on that
Thank
sale.
you.
That's a great job, by the way. I mean, even just that ridge, the attached housing on that ridge is nowhere near as affected as the detached housing's been. I mean, North Park this time last year is up 10%, while the detached is up 5%. So there's a lot of affordability in attached housing right now.
Yeah, wow, it's great stuff. Speaking of hot markets, JJ, we were talking about how the FHA market for people who are buying homes seems to be kind of the hot loan, right? As prices are climbing, making down payments a little bit less possible, people are going for the FHA. The downside, of course, the mortgage insurance. The good news, of course, you don't have to keep it forever.
Well, you don't have to keep it forever. You just have to refinance out of it. That's the downside to it. And I'll tell you, I mean, I think FHA, the mortgage insurance, has gotten more affordable. In the last year, they made the change, so it dropped 50 basis points off the mortgage insurance. It's right in line with conventional financing and the mortgage insurance.
Oh, nice.
You just have the 2 parts to it. So you're going to finance 1.75% up front with that upfront mortgage insurance premium, and then you have the monthly. You got to figure out what you need to do and what's the best option, because sometimes refinancing out of it may take some time to do as well. And mortgage insurance, unless you put 10% down, it's there for the life of the loan unless you get out of it.
Right. So you have to do the refinance to get out of it. Great
Yep.
time to do that when prices are high or going up, which we've seen over the past several years. So if you have an FHA loan that's a couple years old, you very well may be able to refinance out of it, lower that mortgage insurance, at least put a deadline to the end of the mortgage insurance, which could be huge and could save you a bunch of money. All right, coming up, my favorite segment. This is time for a moves to be made in this particular debate right now. Agree or disagree, coming right up. Be right back. All right, it's time for Agree or Disagree, my favorite segment. JJ, of course, today our contestants will be telling us whether they agree or disagree with the given statement and then defending their position. What's really interesting is that according to this article that we're referencing for Agree or Disagree today in the Daily Transcript, which referenced data that was provided by RealtyTrack, it's better to rent than buy a home in a third of the counties in the United States, okay, including San Diego. Now, they base this information on what it would cost to rent a certain property type versus buying it. They claim that in San Diego, the median rent for a 3-bedroom home is $2,200, whereas the monthly payment on a house with the median home price in San Diego County would be more like $2,900, JJ. So today's agree or disagree statement is, quote, RealtyTrack has a point here about the runaway cost of properties in San Diego. While rents have risen, home prices have risen even more so, making it cheaper to be a renter. We'll be starting with Brian DeVore. Brian, agree or disagree?
So I disagree, and I have four points that I want to make about this. First of all, I think it's kind of an unfair comparison. They're talking about an apartment versus a house to buy. Well, you don't buy an apartment, right? So what should the comparison be? Well, most renters, if you're renting and deciding to buy, you're not going to jump into the median home, which is $484,000. You're going to probably get something less expensive, maybe a condo or a townhome. Well, the median price for condos and townhomes, according to the Greater San Diego Association of Realtors, is $343,000. Okay? So if you take the 10% down payment, which is what CoreLogic used, even if you use an inflated interest rate of 4.5%, the PITI, the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, is $1,870. It's $300 less than what that rent was in that 3-bedroom apartment. So if you actually take what someone's likely to buy versus what they're likely to rent, it's cheaper to own.
Interesting.
There was also an interesting report by the Joint Center for Housing Studies of Harvard University, and this is the thing I sent you last night, the state of the nation's housing. And it was an interesting report that said it compared renter households in San Diego and homeowner households in San Diego. And the share of renters with cost burdens in San Diego is 57.5%, and the share of renters with severe cost burdens is 30%. Homeowners, the share of owners with cost burdens is 35.7%, less than the renters. And the share of owners with severe cost burdens is 17%. So according to this, it's actually less burdensome to own a home than to rent. The third thing is, and I'm a broken record with this, real estate's hyperlocal. So you can't just say across the board in San Diego County it's cheaper to rent than to own. And I just took one zip code, 92009 in Carlsbad, and last month 17 3-bedroom condos and townhomes closed with a median price of $490,000. Using that same analysis of 10% down, etc., it's about $27.37 per month, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Last month, 9 3-bedroom homes rented that were listed through the multiple listing service with an average rent of $29.57. Is it cheaper to own or is it cheaper to rent in 92009? It's cheaper to own. The last thing is,
very interesting,
we're seeing demand continue to increase faster for rentals than we are for purchases. In fact, according to Fannie Mae's June 2015 National Housing Survey, 59% of people expect rental prices to go up across the nation, which is a new survey high. Only 47% expect home prices to go up. So I think we're going to keep seeing rental prices going up, up, up. And if fewer people buy, which could happen in the future, they got to live somewhere.
That's right.
Rents are going to go up.
Okay. Wow. Really good information there to help back up your point about buying actually being cheaper, which is the point you're making. Not that it's equivalent or even close, but that it's actually cheaper on the other side of things. Elizabeth Story, do you agree or disagree with the statement that Realty Track has a point here about the runaway cost of properties in San Diego? While rents have risen, home prices have risen even more so, making it cheaper to be a renter.
Before I can even agree or disagree, I have to point out some discrepancies and poorness of facts or lack of facts in the article overall. So they're talking about the median income, but not everybody who's buying a home is using the median income. They also don't talk about what percentage people are putting down or use a comparison for people who are putting 20% down or 10% down. So she used the numbers 2,900 and 2,100 as a comparison. If you put 20% down, your payment's $2,400, and if you put 10% down, your payment's $2,800. So, and she's also not accounting at all for tax deductions. It's not anywhere in here, and one of the biggest benefits to buying a home is tax deductions. She also mentions in the article that average rents rose 3%, and then goes on to contradicts herself 3 paragraphs later, talking about them raising 13%. According to an article in the Union Tribune, we saw a 24% increase between 2004 and 2014 in rents, and they're also expected to raise another 19% by 2019, which is going to outpace housing inflation by far. Okay, so those are some basic facts that are discrepancies, as well as what Brian mentioned, that you cannot compare a 3-bedroom apartment to a 3-bedroom home. They're not the same thing. So some factors that you need to use when you're trying to figure out if it's cheaper to rent or buy: where do you want to live? Not just the monthly payment, but all the other factors like tax deductions, and also the time that you're going to be in the home. If you're only going to be in the home for a year, then it's probably easier to rent. But if you're going to be there for 10 years and rents are scheduled to raise 20%, but you're in a fixed rate 30-year mortgage, then your rent is going to way outpace your owning a home. So those are all factors that you really have to look at. And I would say no one can ever answer that question for you without using a proper, sophisticated calculator. There's some really good ones online. If you want to know, you can visit my site. But I strongly disagree. I think it is much better to buy.
Well, that was an awesome segment, Elizabeth's story. Great information. Rob Cunningham, it's
Yes.
now your turn here for Agree or Disagree. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Realty Track has a point here about this information that was published in the Daily Transcript about the runaway cost of properties in San Diego. While rents have risen, home prices have risen even more so, making it cheaper to be a renter.
That's a really good question, and I'm going to give you the answer to that in a moment after I give you my gripe about this article. This article, when I read it, I actually physically became angry. I was like, what is this? This is a narrative. This is somebody that constructed a story around a narrative that they wanted to use as a headline. Nothing more, nothing less. As Brian and Elizabeth have both pointed out, there's too many differences. They're comparing apples to oranges in too many different areas to even compare. That being said, I mean, the base of it, is it cheaper to rent in San Diego than it is to buy? I agree. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to rent than it is to buy. Now, is it less expensive? I don't know about that. I think that when it comes to that, there's a lot of opportunity costs we're missing when we're renting a property. Like Elizabeth said, we're not getting tax write-offs. We're missing future appreciation. Who knows how stable your property is going to be? So is it cheaper to get into? Yeah, it's cheaper. But in the long run, it's going to be more expensive to rent. Look, when you're renting a property, you're paying a mortgage. It's just not yours. So that's that.
And a very, very good and concise answer, as promised, from Rob Cunningham with RE/MAX. All right, so JJ, here's the deal. That was a great segment, Agree or Disagree. I want to know where you want to weigh in on this thing. What did you think about what Realty Track is saying, renting versus buying? You're in a position where you're helping people buy homes day in, day out, refinance those homes. I'm sure these people have the conversation with you, rent versus own, typical calculation that you do for people. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we have seen rents going up tremendously over the past few years. I mean, with all the short sales that have happened and the foreclosures, it's given the investors the opportunity to really increase rental rates, and we've seen that. It's interesting when you get to like the bigger properties, the jumbo type properties, $1 million properties, people are putting pretty good down payments. I mean, 20, 25, 30%, even more down payments. So, I mean, I'm going to give you an example. I have a buddy that owns a property in Solana Beach, $2 million property. It's actually in the Del Mar zip code, but it sits in Solana Beach. His payment is $7,500 a month, all in. He rents it for $10,000. $7,500. He rents it for 10. He
rents it for 10 a month.
Rents it for 10 a month, and we're not talking short-term rental. This is long-term rental. So that says, I mean, this person's paying more than rent. More for rent. When you're getting to the smaller properties, these condominiums, I mean, sure, you can rent something for $1,500, $1,800 a month. It's an apartment. It's an apartment living. It's not something that you're going to be able to buy. So, Rob pointed out, equity position. Nobody else pointed that out. Equity position, when you own, you're gaining equity down the road. You're paying off your mortgage. Mm-hmm. Not in the article. So I feel that with home appreciation, whether it stays flat, whether it's 3% or 10% in the next year, that's fine. Over the long run, you're paying off your home. Let's not forget about you're living in the property. This is a place that you're calling home. Even if you're paying a little bit more for the mortgage and HOAs, I think, Brian, your calculations were missing HOAs in that overall scheme when you're talking PITI. So we have to remember kind of the overall payment calculations when we're comparing rent versus own. But tax deductions, what sort of tax rate are you in?
Yeah, are you going to itemize? Yeah, those things
are you
going to
I mean, there's a lot of different calculations, but I still believe right now, today, the housing market is super stable. The reason why people are qualifying, people are putting money down, And that is the reason why it should be a better option to buy than rent.
I'm glad you brought it up because I also noticed that no one else mentioned the equity position, because it doesn't matter if the home goes up in value, right? Every month when you're paying towards owning that thing, and you are gaining equity with every single payment you make. So a great point there, JJ. All right, I'll let you tally up the scores so you can get us updated on who's got how many points and who's set up to win this real estate debate as we head into listing of the week. Stick around. All right, JJ, it's time for the final segment. Before we do listing of the week, before we do for the win, to find out who's going to be our real estate debate champion today, let's check in with you and see what the scores look like.
Okay, this is a tough race here. We have Rob and Brian tied at 15 points. Elizabeth is 1 point behind at 14 points. There's only 10 points to give in this last segment, so you got to really bring it.
Yeah, so the way that listing of the week works is, there's 10 total points. They have to be divvied up a total of 10, no more, no less. Based on how you pitch your properties, and essentially sell the home. Sell it to JJ, sell it to anyone who's watching this show. So, Elizabeth, you will actually be going first on listing of the week.
All right. I'm going to tell you why the area is great, and then I'm going to tell you why the property is great. My listing of the week is 1758 Cape May Place in Old Carlsbad. Carlsbad is so unique. It's one of the most unique cities in the world because it has the ocean, multiple lagoons, it has Legoland, the flower fields, and coming soon, North 40, which is a 40-acre urban farm-to-table experience that is going to be bananas, and it will also have breweries. Now, that's great about Carlsbad. Now, let me tell you what's great about this property. It is a 5-minute walk to the lagoon, and it is less than a mile from the beach in Old Carlsbad. It is really great for an extended family, for a work-at-home couple, because there's 2 downstairs bedrooms that could be used as an office, or it would be really attractive as a vacation rental because of its proximity to the water and the amount of bedrooms it has. It's a 6-bedroom house, 2 bedrooms downstairs, 4 bedrooms upstairs, 3 baths, 4 showers, outdoor shower, 3-car garage, 3-car driveway. It's got an extra slab for a man cave or a she shed. Every single room has a patio except one. Every single room in the house, every living room, every bedroom, every office. It's 0.27 acres with fruit-bearing trees and edibles that you can barbecue. Right next to it is a rosemary. You could literally pick from the rosemary bush and put it right onto the barbecue. It's Cape Cod style. It's in a cul-de-sac. It's also for the families that would want to be there long-term. It is walking distance to the elementary, middle, and high schools. It's an open high school district. They can go to the STEM school or Carlsbad High. It's got ocean views from the slope. It comes with a swing set and a tree swing for families with children. It has lovely flowers that are drought tolerant and attract lots of butterflies, so the butterflies fly around the yard all day. They have Halloween parties in the cul-de-sac. There's no HOA or Melrose. Tons of natural light, and it's got a brand new kitchen with transferable warranty on all of the appliances. If you'd like to schedule a private showing, you can contact me at info@Story Estates, www.storyestates.com, or give me a call at 619-742-3979.
And what was the price range on this one?
That one is $895 to $949.
Wow, that sounds like a really good deal. I mean, 6 bedrooms, all the decks, the quarter
Extremely
acre.
rare.
Wow, that is crazy. I was totally expecting you to say well over $1 million. This was like, okay, when is it coming?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2.75 to 3.249 or something like that. That's a great deal. Wow, what a property. Great listing.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff from Elizabeth Story, storyestates.com. Also, our recommended agent for Smarter San Diego in the Carmel Valley area. Elizabeth, looking forward to doing TV with you in the near future.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Great job on the debate today. Good luck as we still have the final tally that we're waiting for. Rob Cunningham, it's now
Yes.
time for your listing of the week.
I actually just put a great home on the market, and one of the great things about this property is the fact that it has views literally from every room in the house with the exception of one bedroom. It also has a balcony coming off of virtually every room in the house. It was recently redone, floor to ceiling, entirely done throughout, kitchens, bathrooms. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath property, just under 2,000 square feet on the top of Dictionary Hill. It has a large backyard with a raised deck, great for barbecuing on a quiet street. It is priced under the average sales price in the county, so it's affordable for many, many, many people. We're only asking $449 for the home, actually. And like I said, the views that you can see out to the ocean, the downtown skyline.
For $449?
Yeah, I know, right?
What?
I know. The seller, get this, the seller's motivated. We're looking to make moves. We're looking to get someone in there that's really actually going to enjoy their life there, and it's gonna be a good home for somebody.
That's an incredible situation, Rob. But how could someone find out more about the property or get in touch with you?
They can give me a call on my cell phone at 619-804-5972. Again, that's 619-804-5972.
Awesome. Great listing from Rob Cunningham. Mr. DeVore, last but not least,
Yes,
of
sir.
course, you got a lot that you're coming behind
I
here.
know
mean,
that.
This is going to be tough to live up to.
I know that.
Let's hear about your listing of the week.
Well, I think that you have lots of different listeners and lots of different property types that they're interested in. For any of your listeners who are interested in a home in Carlsbad in a master plan community, they need to pay attention to this. And if they happen to be an escrow on a property right now, they need to maybe think twice about closing on that property and coming to mine.
Wow.
So Elizabeth did a great job of selling Carlsbad. One of the things you didn't mention that's coming to that new shopping center is Nordstrom.
Yes.
It's coming.
Well, you
coming
got
over
to
there.
throw that in there.
Got to throw it in there.
That's a big draw.
So Carlsbad, as we know, is a very desirable place. Legoland, flower fields, etc. And one of the more desirable communities is Rancho Carrillo, which is an area that I do a lot of business in. Very desirable for the schools, top-rated 10 schools, lots of shopping, lots of restaurants, close to everything. So it's a very desirable place. So as of yesterday, in the 92009 zip code, there were 227 detached properties for sale. Of those, if you go to 4 bedrooms only, 4 bedrooms or more, there's only 81. Then if you narrow it down to the highly desirable cul-de-sac location, there are 18. And if you want it to be under $750,000, there are only 4. Okay? And if you want to be in Rancho Carrillo, there's only 1. And I've got it. The address is 6075 Paseo Pradera. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, just under 2,300 square feet. The home has been completely remodeled, and the home is only 14 years old. So everything was already in good shape, and they completely gutted the kitchen. Granite countertops with full backsplash, stainless steel appliances, elegant travertine floors throughout downstairs, upstairs, full wood throughout every single bedroom and hallway. It's got an amazing backyard, probably one of the larger yards in the community, well manicured, but it's relatively drought resistant, so people aren't going to spend a fortune on watering their backyard. And it's got gorgeous views from the backyard as well as from upstairs for $749,000.
$749 for this property in Rancho Carrillo. And how many bedrooms and bathrooms?
It's 4 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms.
2.5 baths, 2-car garage, and it's on a cul-de-sac that has about 8 homes on it. So it's a very quiet cul-de-sac. It's a great location. There's always people out there playing. So if you're looking for a bedroom community, you have kids, and you want to move into an area like this, this is the only one you can get.
You got the only one.
I got the only one.
He's got the only one for sale. And so how would people find out more about that property or get in touch with you for a
So
showing?
they can go to my website at www.thedevores.com, DEVORES. They can also call me for a private showing. My number is 760-908-3838. Or send me an email, info@thedevores.com.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Wow, what a great debate. JJ, you now are in the hot seat, the hottest of hot seats.
You know what? I'm glad to be in the seat, and that last segment I think was an easy one for me. The disappointment of today is no one threw a challenge flag. Which
True.
is, they're kind of sitting here. They're lonely. They really need to be picked up. Exactly. I understand why. Everybody gets 2 points for their unused challenge flags.
So it's a wash.
It's a wash. Elizabeth, to me, ran away with the listing of the week. I mean, I want to buy that property with that pitch. She gained some points there with a total of 19. She is the winner. Brian DeVore won behind at 18. Rob Cunningham, 17.
Elizabeth Story?
8-time champion now.
Woo!
Wow, Elizabeth, you win. It was a great pitch. It's true. Well done.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
so tell me, before we cut out, tell me how sweet does it taste to be the first 8-time champion?
It tastes really good. Almost as good as the margaritas I'll be having this afternoon.
Just say you've had a stressful morning.
I have had a very stressful.
She needs it.
So this has got to be a nice payoff. It's
well,
the equilibrium of life working itself out here just
Yes,
perfectly right in front of
yes.
your eyes. Congratulations. You
Thank
did a
you.
fantastic job. And another great real estate debate. Find out more at therealestatedebate.com. We'll see you there.